Atlanta came off when we had a terrible Olympics in Seoul in '88. And then we improved just slightly a couple of years later in Barcelona, and then we went up to Atlanta. So you'll have thought that maybe we'll learn lessons from Seoul,
just keep
and
improving
exactly, and then we.
after every
But what
one.
has happened from Atlanta is that we've bottomed out, and I mean London, like I said, was absolutely one of our worst performances. We didn't win anything, and the story then was that we'll learn from all of this, we'll improve from all of this, and what it looks like we'll have at this Olympics performance probably even worse, than London, except the athletes reach, like she said again, deep into that Nigerian-ness, so to speak, and perform at levels that we didn't expect them. We saw what the Olympics on the 23 team did. They flew from Atlanta to Manaus, got to Manaus, which I should say, by the way, is a very hot place, very humid, is in the Amazons of Brazil, and somehow managed, to win their game. That is not planning. That is just the boys being the boys, digging deep. But we shouldn't be putting our athletes through all of this, where they have to dig into themselves and look for resources that normally other athletes just rely on their talent and preparation. Our athletes, their talent, and they have to always constantly, in spite of poor performances, try to find something to do.
Yola, after every Olympics, we post-mortem and we say the same things all over again, and we give the examples of countries who are already preparing for 2024.
Absolutely.
They're already grooming children.
Absolutely.
Training for 2024.
So
we say that after every Olympics, and yet we find ourselves in this situation all the time. 2 months before is when we begin to run helter-skelter.
What even, makes this even worse, this, I should say, Rio Olympics, is that, so typically we usually have problems with preparing the athletes for the performance. But behind, in terms of getting them to the Olympics and making sure that we get the logistics right, a lot of times we get it just about right. This time around, in terms of preparing them for the competition itself, there has been zero performances. What we've had are just, so for instance, you have the Athletics Federation of Nigeria putting together some of their own, program for the athletes, the weightlifting guys as well, crafting their own program. There hasn't been any sort of unified, harmonized preparation for all of the athletes. They have CRCA as well and the NFF trying to sort out something with the Olympics. So we've had disjointed, uncoordinated, almost chaotic preparations for individual teams. And like you mentioned in your intro, there has to be a unity, a sense of unity around your performance. That's what we've had. And so apart from that, what we've also had is chaotic preparations in terms of even getting the team or the teams to Rio. We've had a situation where at a point we reached out to athletes to see if they can even pay their own way to Olympics. We've had an athlete, Regina George, who had to come online and go on, GoFundMe and beg for money to go to the Olympics. Unfortunately, all of that effort has gone to waste now because she's a member of the 4x4 team that has been disqualified. And then we had the male team as well who were stuck in Atlanta up until a few hours to their game. So we've actually even transited from struggling to prepare the athletes to perform to even struggling to get to the games itself. And then we saw another evidence of error, either by commission or omission, of having our athletes go through the Olympic parade wearing tracksuits, where we saw other teams from all across the world showcase the culture.
Traditional wear.
Exactly,
Yes.
and we had our athletes going through tracksuits.
Okay. We're now being joined by Waheed Enitan Oshodi, who's the president of the Table Tennis Federation, who joins us from Rio, Brazil. Thank you for joining us, Enitan.
Thank you very much for having me on the show this morning.
So it looks like it's been a few hours since you woke up.
It's actually just about an hour since we woke up. We didn't get back from the opening ceremony till about 2 a.m. Brazil time, which is about 4-5 hours ago.
Okay.
So just a bit of a nap. The players start playing this morning, so we're getting ready to go off to the venues now.
Okay, before we let you rush out, just tell us what your take was from the opening ceremony. What was it like?
Hello?
What was the opening ceremony like?
Well, the atmosphere was electrifying. I think the Brazilians, they outdid themselves, especially going by the reports we'd had before the games. It was a fantastic ceremony. And everybody was excited. A good start for the games for the Brazil organizing committee.
Okay. Look at the Nigerian contingent. Yola has just talked about the fact that they came into the parade wearing their jerseys. What is going on?
Well, everybody knows that our preparations haven't been exactly the best. It's been one thing or the other. And you know, normally you'd see the athletes come out in, you know, costumes that reflect our great traditions, our great cultures. But you know, I think it was also down to the issues that, you know, that have been propounded everywhere. Um, Lack of funds arriving late, and various issues. Yes, I think we could have done better. You know, I think we had to make the best of this situation. Apparently.
What about the morale of the athletes? You've had time to speak with them. What's their morale like?
Well, you know, everybody had hoped that the team, you know, like the studio guest had said, everybody had hoped that the teams would be united. You know, a good proper camp training tour, but that didn't happen again. And I think a few of the athletes were down. But you know, arriving in Rio, seeing all the other athletes, it gives them a challenge. And hopefully, you know, these athletes have had to dig deep. People have talked about medals we've won in the past. But if you go through the records, it's not because our preparations have been top-notch ever. It's down to the athletes, you know, the grit, the determination to do well. And, you know, we must encourage them again in that regard for them to put out their best there. Our preparations have not been the best. The Olympics, for me, is an 8-year preparatory. You have to have an 8-year plan for the Olympics. We haven't had that. Various federations have tried in their own way, but you know, it's down to the athletes, and we have to just try and motivate them, stay behind them. Hopefully we can do well.
Okay. President, Table Tennis Federation, what are your expectations with an aging Torreira, who we hear is still one of the best in Africa, and he's actually ranked in the world? I mean, we know he's good, but in light of what you have seen in Rio, what are our chances in that particular field?
Well, in the singles event, I mean, we have an outside chance of a medal because we have, you know, Segun Torreira, who is still playing very well. You know, everybody talks about his age, when I think people should just focus on the commitment and discipline that has got him this far through 7 Olympics. And hopefully this, he says, might be his last Olympics. And hopefully we think he can bring it to the fore. But of course, you know, the best player in Nigeria is Aaron Okwadwo, is the best player in the Commonwealth. Yes. We haven't had a player so highly ranked before. And we're hopeful that, you know, he's got a good draw. He's in the second round already. And hopefully he might go all the way to the medal zone. But generally, you know, in the team event, I think unluckily for us, we've drawn China in the first round. China, of course, the greatest, you know, that China, beating China in table tennis is probably, would be the greatest sporting achievement ever you could think of. But, you know, the players tell me they have no fear. They played against them. You know, the exposure we've given them, some of them going out on the circuit, playing against these Chinese players regularly, gives them, you know, it motivates them and it gives them a chance. So we'll stay right behind them, keep on encouraging them, and we hope, you know, to do well. But again, you know, everybody talks about medals, but you know, you need to do the right things. You need to prepare properly. And we've done our best at the federation level. The players have done their best. And hopefully, Nigerians will see something to be proud of. I've spoken to a wide range of the athletes, wrestling, you know, the boxers, everybody. And, you know, for their own careers as well, they're determined to do well. And I think that's what's always seen us through.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I was also going to ask you how you felt seeing Oshonaike carrying the flag for Nigeria during that parade.
You know, for somebody who's just not an administrator, for someone who's a fan, and I've been a fan of Funke Oshonaike for a long, long time, really, really proud. That was a really proud moment for her family. You know, she comes from a very supportive family. Her parents aging, but they're always there for her, supporting every minute. 6th Olympics, you know, everybody glosses that over. It's a major achievement. I think it's even a bigger achievement than Segun Torreira's 7th Olympics, because when you put into the equation, she's had 2 children, married woman, combining all that, it says a lot for our women folk in Nigeria. Funke did us very proud yesterday. You know, she looked so proud of herself out there and brought tears to our eyes with the fans yesterday.
Wahid, thank you so much for speaking with us. We just hang on. We'll speak with you briefly after this moment. Please don't go away.
Thank you.